Hello and welcome to the France 24 interview. I'm joined here by a tennis superstar, Novak Djokovic, who's of course in Paris for Roland Garros. Novak, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's an interesting tournament for you, Roland Garros, because you've won all of the other Grand Slams. You have 6 in total, but the one that's missing is the one, of course, here in Paris. Are you looking forward to this year's tournament? And do you think, because people are saying that this might be your year, do you think it could be?
I hope it can be. I can't predict the result. I can't guarantee that I can win the title, or I cannot foresee what is ahead of us, but I can always try to give my best in every moment and prepare myself as best as I can. I had a great confidence booster win in Rome in the finals against Nadal, you know, the biggest rival, and of course the ultimate challenge on clay. He's the most successful player this sport has ever had on this surface. So he has lost, I think, only one match in his entire career on Philippe Chatrier court in Roland Garros. So that says enough about his record, and obviously he's the first favorite to win the title again this year. But you know, there's Wawrinka, Federer, you know, Ferrer, Murray, you know, there are players, and also the new younger generations of players like Dimitrov, Raonic, Nishikori, who are in some great form and who have proven to everybody that they can win against top players. So it's going to be a very interesting tournament because there's many players who are playing well, and of course Grand Slam and Roland Garros is one of the biggest tournaments in the world, and there's plenty of motivation to perform well.
I know I'm putting you under pressure because we're here in Paris, but what is special about Roland Garros for you personally? I know you speak French
yeah, well,
as well.
I love Europe. I'm from Serbia. I'm from a European country, and I think, not because I'm here, but I sincerely think this is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. I always consider it one of my favorite. Love coming back to Paris and to the city also that not only has a culture and history, but also has a very knowledgeable crowd about tennis, and they have a history in this game, in this sport, over 120 years of existence of a Grand Slam, and that's deeply rooted in their culture of sport. And you can feel that when you step into the Roland Garros tennis venue. In every corner you can feel the excitement of the people. It's not as big as maybe the venues of Australian Open, US Open, but it's very well organized, it's compact, and you can see the crowd and feel the crowd of people in this unique atmosphere that Paris represents.
You had a very special year in 2011, and you know, I think when you were a kid, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I imagine one of your dreams would have been winning Wimbledon and perhaps coming a world #1, and you did that all in the space of a couple of days. There's a really interesting quote on your website. I hope you don't mind me reading things off your website back to you. But it said that for a long time after that moment, the images were moving in my mind, clearer than before. I wanted to ask you what that meant. Was it like kind of being in the zone, or?
Well, you can define it as being in the zone, but it was one of the most beautiful moments I experienced in my life, in my career, because most of my life was dedicated to this sport, and this sport has brought me a lot of joy, a lot of happiness, a lot of opportunities to travel around the world, to meet different cultures, people, speak languages, and I'm grateful for that. I never try to underestimate and take for granted any moment of being on the court, so that has helped me also to enjoy more every kind of epic match, or any fight for a Grand Slam title that I have, and I've had many in last 4 or 5 years, and obviously the biggest one that stands out was 2011, my most successful year, where I won 3 Grand Slams, and of course, as you mentioned, Wimbledon.
Was that your dream Grand Slam?
Yes, there was, and the reason why I was mentioning that the images were going through my mind is because when I was, I think, 7, 8 years old, when I started to play tennis a little bit more seriously, I was looking myself in the mirror and kind of designing the Wimbledon trophy out of quite normal and usual materials like paper, plastic, or anything I could find, and then I would like stand in the mirror and say, okay, this is Novak Djokovic, the Wimbledon champion.
Did you practice
thank you very much, and
yeah.
I was practicing my speech. That's right. So those kind of particular images were going through my mind, and one of my dearest people in my life, and my first coach, Jelena Gencic, that passed away last year. She was the one that inspired me so much about Wimbledon and about the sport in general. So I never forgot about that, and it was a very emotional period after I won that title. But I found another inspiration, not just because I lived to that moment mostly for that, for that title, for being #1 of the world, but then I realized that it's not only about goals and ambitions. It's about enjoying the real moment on the tennis court and being grateful for where you are. And I love to compete. I love to go around the world and play the sport.
So it wasn't like you were like, I've done it now, and something kind of relaxed you. It actually inspired you to do a bit more.
Absolutely, it inspired me to find this particular strength and motivation that I just talked about. And of course, I have plenty of other goals, and one of them is to win Roland Garros.
I think people, when they see people like yourself, they don't perhaps see all of the other children who tried to make a career in tennis and didn't, and they don't realize perhaps that it was a big gamble for you, that you spent much of your childhood trying to do this. And I wanted to ask you, during that period where you're sacrificing your time, you're leaving your family to go and play, you went to Germany as a young boy, do you think kind of, I'm definitely going to do it, or are you just kind of hoping? Is there like a certainty to it, or are you just thinking, hopefully one day I'll do this?
Well, when you're young, you're not thinking too much about the expectations or pressure. You just go out and enjoy and play a sport that you play with all your heart, regardless of who you are, where you are. It's just I'm sure that many people can identify with that feeling, is that there's something that makes you feel fulfilled with happiness and joy inside of yourself deeply, and then that's a drive force that takes you to the courts every day, and that's something that I still have today. Obviously, once you're getting older, you start realizing and maturing, you start realizing what's happening, and then of course the pressure adds up, but the pressure is privilege. Pressure is part of our sport, it's part of what we do, and it means that you're doing something that is worthy, that is valuable, and that's how I take it. That's how I observe the pressure. And family was one of the key factors for my success. The support that I got from them, from my father and my mother especially, and then from all the other family and members, and of course the tennis club and the country at that time was going through a very difficult times. We had wars, we had embargo and sanctions, we had economy standard fell to a very low level. So it was very difficult time. So the sport, investing in sport was it's not the priority of the country. Obviously, it was more about survival. And so during that period, I was growing up and developing into a player in my country, and that's also something that gave me that extra edge and hunger for success, and to prove and to that I could make it. And but again, I couldn't make it alone without family and without support of the close ones.
You're talking about the difficult time that was going on in Serbia then. Of course, there's a very difficult time right now with the floods that are devastating the region and some of the countries nearby. You donated your earnings from the victory in Rome to help the victims of that particular flood. Obviously, it's a really difficult time right now back there. Can you tell us a little bit about how, because I know people can go onto your Novak Djokovic Foundation website and make a donation. Can you tell us a little bit about the efforts that you've been getting involved in?
Well, it's a devastating flood. It's a flood of epical proportions. It happened about a week, 7-8 days ago, when I was playing a tournament in Rome, in Italy, and I started following the news, and I was the whole day on the phone with my family and close ones, with my friends, trying to be involved and participate in this crisis period, and try to contribute in some way. And then I was thinking in what way I could do that. And first thing that I did is trying to spread more awareness about it internationally, because I have noticed that the international media hasn't been really broadcasting the news and the real picture about what's going on, because they didn't realize the seriousness of this situation. And Bosnia, Croatia, and Serbia, all these three countries are experiencing one of the worst floods ever in the history of those countries. Bosnia alone has evacuated over 950,000 people. Serbia, half of the Serbia was for some time with no electricity. I mean, it's just out of this proportions, out of anything normal that you can think of. It's very difficult times for my people, and myself, and of course all the other athletes and famous people and people who have some kind of influence try to spread the awareness around the world and use their networks and their statuses, positions to attract as many donations, as much as support, from outside to to help our country and help the people in need, because it's incredible crisis, and it's not just now during the flood. Flood is slowly backing up, but the period after this is over when they evaluate the damage, which is incredible. It will take years to recover from that. So I want to use this opportunity and thank all the people that show their great heart, not just athletes, famous people, influential, successful people, but the ordinary people, the people who live there, who have experience there, and who went physically to help to protect their cities from the rivers. And so through Novak Djokovic Foundation is one of the ways to donate, and of course using this opportunity also to thank Uniqlo for donating $50,000 to the flood relief through the government resources, and this is also something that that I appreciate very much in these difficult times, because Japan also several years ago went through their natural disaster, and now they recognize this this situation. So it's really important that now people recognize the situation, understand the difficulty, and try to help as much as they can. And of course, as we mentioned, one of the ways is to go on my website or Uniqlo website and donate the money through my foundation. And there are different, of course, ways to donate, and I just hope that we can get as much as resources as possible for these people to survive this terrible flood.
So it's Novak Djokovic Foundation website. You can go on there. Thank you very much.
Thank you
for your time, Novak. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
That's all for now from the France 24 interview. Thank you to the FireProd team here in Paris. More news coming right up on France 24.